Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here, and welcome to today's video where we're going to talk about Connor McDavid, and he's leaving Edmonton. Oh my God, the interview with Elliotte, Friedman, and Kyle Bukauskas was horrible, and that means he's going to leave. No, it doesn't. We're not actually going to talk about Connor McDavid, all right? Let's just tone it down a little bit. Come on, relax. Bring it in. Deep breath in. And deep breath out, folks. Now, obviously, there are media pundits and experts. I put experts very loosely in quotation marks. And there are fans from all across the NHL sphere right now being like, hey, that Connor McDavid interview with Elliotte Friedman, that means he's not staying. That means he's going to leave. Listen, there's still technically a chance, right? There is a universe where Connor McDavid does leave the Edmonton Oilers. I am not naive to the idea that, or the fact that, he could potentially leave. You have to take a look at all potential outcomes here. But the only pundit, the only person in media that even understands a little bit about this team, and the only person in Edmonton media that seems to actually understand what's going on, because literally no one else in Edmonton media ever gets to break the news. They're never on top of anything, right? Edmonton media is all speculation, rage farming, clickbaiting, except for one guy. And that is, of course, the Bob Father, Bob Stauffer. Now listen, if the Bob Father here, handsome gentleman, what do you think? He beats me like a lot in the looks department, doesn't he? If the Bob Father is saying that Connor McDavid is going to stay, there will be some sort of contract for Connor McDavid this season going into next season. Listen, I'm going to believe him. I'm over literally anyone else. There is no one else that I would trust more with that type of wording than Bob Stauffer. And he did clarify today, once again, at about 102% chance that Connor McDavid signs some form of extension. Now, maybe it's not the 7 or 8 years that we are all expecting and hoping for in oil country. Maybe it's not even a 3 or 4 year deal. Maybe it's a 1 or 2 year deal. Maybe it's just to see, how this team performs this year, how they perform in the next year or so, because the Oilers window right now, wide open. And we don't know how open it is because we still haven't had a proper look at Matthew Savoy in a full-time role with the team and some of the other young and up-and-coming players. Chris Knobloch, of course, still looking for a contract too. We're not concerned about Connor McDavid here. I am not concerned, right? Do I think that he could leave? Obviously, no. But yes, right? It's a yes and no. There is a very slim chance. A tiny slim chance that he does leave Edmonton, and he would be well within his right to do that, by the way. Fans would be upset, and you would all have your right to be upset about Connor McDavid leaving. Now, if there's a chance, if Connor McDavid is considering testing free agency, which he is allowed to do, he has earned that right as an NHL player. The years of service that he has given to the Edmonton Oilers, he has earned anything that he wants to do. Connor McDavid is basically given a free slate here, and he has time on his side. What Connor McDavid has, more than at least the fans seem to understand, is Connor McDavid has time. He has time to sign an extension. He has time to work things out with the team. He has time to decide what his future is going to look like. And it's a big decision. And contract negotiations are actually pretty, I would say, fairly complicated. It's not as simple as a player being like, yeah, I'm willing to sign. Like, that's great, but you still have to hammer home the dollar figure, what the ins and outs of the contract look like. Is there a no move? If there is a no move, what does that look like? There's a whole lot that goes into it. How much is he getting per year? How much is he going to get in bonuses? All that sort of stuff, right? That's something that the managers and the agents discuss. Players very rarely are ever part of that discussion. So for Connor McDavid, if there is even a 1% chance, if he is sitting there going, if Stan Bowman asked him, hey, what is the percent chance you test free agency? And Connor McDavid goes, 1%. Well, I like those odds. But if I'm Stan Bowman, you have to also look at the organization too, and what the organization needs, what the organization can do that's best for the team. Obviously, you tell Connor McDavid, I'm not actively shopping you, but because you have told me that there is a 1% chance that you are going to leave, I need a list of teams that you would be willing to be traded to. Because now, I'm not saying trade McDavid. People are going to take this way out of context. This is not what I'm saying. But you have to have a contingency plan as an organization for a player like McDavid. If he decides he wants to go, if he is thinking about it, whether it's a 1% chance, 10% chance, 0.1% chance, you have got to make sure that you as an organization, you as a general manager, are prepared for that decision as well. Best way to be prepared for that, get the list of teams and then try and facilitate a trade if possible. if and when on McDavid's time too, right? If McDavid says, yeah, there's a 1% chance, obviously I don't think I am, but if you want the list of teams, which I think a general manager should be doing, I think that is what a good GM does, is any player that has a no move clause or limited no move clause at minimum should be asking for lists of teams at the start of the year. That way they already have a baseline of what they can work with and what they can do mid-season before the trade deadline. I'm not saying McDavid's leaving. And I don't think he would. And I don't think the team would trade him. Even if McDavid told them right now, yeah, I'm probably not going to sign with you guys. Do I think the Oilers would even consider trading him? Probably not. But I know for myself as a GM, I would be doing that. Connor McDavid, this is the end of the discussion that I'm having on this video. And I hope to not have to do too many of these anymore, because let the guy play hockey, right? Let him see through. Let him lead this team, right? I think Connor McDavid didn't get a deal done before training camp opened and likely won't get a deal done before the season opens, because he is focused on getting this team ready. This is a captain that has just lost 2 absolute heartbreakers in the Stanley Cup final consecutively, 2 years in a row. He is going to be getting ready to play on the world's biggest stage at the Olympics in 2026. This is a player that I think is coming into camp and he just wants to focus on, 1, making sure his game is good and ready to go. 2, making sure that the team itself is ready to go and lead everyone in that locker room. Whether you're leading a younger group of players, whether you're leading your veteran savvy players, Connor McDavid deserves to do what he wants on his time. So I'm not worried. Bob Stauffer's not worried. And if Bob Stauffer's not worried, none of us should be worried. Now, in saying that, there is one thing that concerns me about this team right now, and that is the goaltending situation. Yes, I know. We've beaten this horse to death. I understand. But I have been asked by a few people to kind of break down Stuart Skinner's numbers. What would his next contract look like? And is it a mistake to keep him as the starter? Is it a mistake to give him that vote of confidence? Hey, Stu, you're the guy. You're the number one guy, because he's had that vote of confidence for 2 consecutive seasons. And in my opinion, has fallen way, way short of what we expect from a goaltender. So let's talk about Stu. Let's take a look at some of his stats. All right. Now, confidence in Skinner. There's a lot going on the screen. You can pause it if you'd like, go over the numbers, and then you can unpause and listen to me yap. So in 2022-2023, his first full-time season with the team. This, of course, was the year that Jack Campbell was put on waivers, and Stuart Skinner had to come in as the starter. And boy, oh boy, as a rookie, did he ever come in as a starter, and he played well in the regular season. He had a 29-14-5 record, a 2.73 goals against average, a 914 save percentage, that's fantastic, and a plus 6.8 goals save above expected. Now, the advanced stats are according to Money Puck. I know Evolving Hockey's numbers are a little bit different. I'm just going with Money Puck. It's the easiest thing for the public to access and filter and look at. So in the playoffs, though, this is where the rails fell apart, right? As a rookie, he was 5-4-2 in the postseason. He had a 3.68 goals against average, which is horrible. An 883 save percentage. That is horrible. And a minus 6.2 goals save above expected. Oh my goodness gracious. So his playoffs in 2022-23 were atrocious. Really, really bad. And it was mostly that Vegas series. We all remember in 2023 playoffs, Stuart Skinner was yanked 3 times. 3 separate times. And Jay Woodcroft kept going back to him. Like, bro, what are you doing? Jack Campbell came in. I forget what game it was against the LA Kings. It might have been game 4 with the Kings up 2-1 in the series and up 3-0 in game 4 in LA, I think is what it was. And Stuart Skinner was pulled. And then the Oilers came back and won. And Jack Campbell, he played great. But Jack Campbell, basically in all of his relief appearances, looked fine. He was good. There was no issues with his play in the postseason. It was the regular season where there was a big problem. And sorry, I did mention a little bit earlier, Jack Campbell was put on waivers in 22-23. No, that's a lie. It was in 23-24. Of course, the season that I started my YouTube channel. So just had to correct that. In 23-24, Stuart Skinner, 36-16-5 record, a 2.62 goals against average. Not too bad, not too shabby there, sir. 905 save percentage, okay, league average, and a +2 goals save above expected. So Stuart Skinner in the 23-24 season, his regular season numbers dipped a bit from the previous year. His advanced stats dipped a little bit. His save percentage dipped a little bit. The goals against average was actually a bit better, and I would just chalk that up to the team being better in front of him personally. And because, Chris Knobloch came in and they really became methodical in how they played defense. And then in the playoffs, right? We're going to take a look at the playoff numbers here. 14-8-1 record, 2.45 goals against average, a 901 save percentage, and a plus 1.9 goals save above expected. So, in the postseason, did he give the team a chance to win most nights? Yes, kind of. He's 50-50 in that regard. In the 2024 playoffs, he was yanked in the Canucks series. Calvin Pickard was given 2 starts in that Canucks series before they went back to Stuart Skinner, because in the Canucks series, he was getting yanked left and right. He was being absolutely shelled left and right, and they did not trust him against Vancouver. Now, after that Canucks series, of course, he did play much better. Conference final against Dallas, he played great. The Stanley Cup final against the Florida Panthers and Sergei Bobrovsky, he played okay. I think early in the series, it didn't really matter how good he would play because the team in front of him was not super great. They battled back to force Game 7, and in Game 7, he only gave up 2 goals. And I think the game winner is something that is going to give fans nightmares forever, but the team in front of him only gave him 1 goal of run support. So it's tough to blame Stu there. Again, his numbers from the previous year, they dipped a little bit, except the playoffs, right? Huge bump in numbers for the playoffs for Stu. But now we get into last season. Last season was the roller coaster. Last season was where most fans realized, okay, I don't think we can rely on this goalie as our starter. In the regular season, 26-18-4 record, a 2.81 goals against average, an 896 save percentage, minus 1.5 goals save above expected. So save percentage below 900, goals save above expected in the negatives in the regular season, and a 2.81 goals against average. And remember, this is a team that was the best defensive team in the NHL at limiting high danger chances. He was not being shelled the way other goalies get shelled, and he was not being given the task of saving just outrageous, horrible high danger chances every single night, which, of course, the Oilers have been known to give up. But if you take a look at the entire season last year, according to Natural Stat Trick, the Oilers gave up the least amount of high danger chances in the entire NHL. So people will be like, hey, the team in front of him wasn't great. That would be a lie. The team in front of Stu was great, and his numbers were bad. In the playoffs, this is where things get almost even worse. Actually, in fact, I would argue they were worse. 7-6-1 record, 2.99 goals against average, 889 save percentage, and a goal save above expected of exactly 0. Now, in the 2024 playoffs, like I mentioned, he was yanked in the Canucks series. In the 2025 playoffs, he lost the starter job to Calvin Pickard in the LA Kings series. Of course, you all remember my crash out after Game 2, where when he gets yanked, or before he got yanked, when he'd already given up, I forget how many goals, and then he did that crazy glove save that he didn't need to do. He did the Patrick Waugh, he finessed it, and then he gets pulled, and he's laughing for some reason. We're not going to get into that. So, in the Kings series, he was pulled twice. Calvin Pickard came in, had to win 4 straight. And then Calvin Pickard also was the starter against Vegas. Calvin Pickard did start games 1 and 2 against the Golden Knights before Pickard got hurt. And then Stuart Skinner came in, finished the job, right? I thought Stu played pretty good against Vegas. He had 2 consecutive shutouts to close out the series. I thought he played pretty decent against the Dallas Stars. And then against the Florida Panthers, that's where the wheels completely fell off once again. He was yanked twice in that Florida series, and it just wasn't good enough. So, taking all this into account, 3 full years of being an NHL player. This is going to be his 4th year of being an NHLer. Right now, his contract is $2.6 million. And the expiry date of that contract is the end of this season, which means he is a pending unrestricted free agent, right? He will be a free agent. I think he's UFA. I want to say he's UFA. He could be RFA still. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I'll look that up later. Maybe you can all look it up. I'll post a link to the Puckpedia page for him. It doesn't matter, though. His contract expires at the end of 25-26, so this season. And a lot of fans, they like to come at me whenever I pick on Stu. They're like, oh, well, he only makes $2.6 million. You get what you pay for. Is that really the bar that we're setting with Stuart Skinner? Because he doesn't make as much as a normal starter, or what you would consider a starter's wage, that we're just okay with mediocrity in the crease? I don't like that argument. I understand that argument. I don't like that argument. Right? Now, his projected contract. What will the contract look like if he signs an extension? At least $4 million, likely $5 million plus per season, depending how many years, and with the cap going up. And because his agent will be like, hey, this is the starter. He had to take over for Jack Campbell, and Jack Campbell was making $5 million a year. And for my client, he wasn't supposed to be the starter when he was thrust into that role. And because Jack Campbell literally couldn't stop a beach ball, my client had to step in and stop the bleeding and help your team out. So I want $5+ million a year for my client. At least if I was Stuart Skinner's agent, that's what I would be saying. Is he worth that? No, absolutely not. I think Stuart Skinner is a good not a backup. Could be a good backup. I think Stuart Skinner is a goaltender where in today's NHL, he can platoon with someone. Split the starts 50-50. You each get 41 games, whether you split them at home or on the road, however you want to work it as a head coach too, right? Now, there are other question marks with Stuart Skinner, right? This is his first year working with Peter Aubry, the new goaltending coach. So lots of hopes there that Peter Aubry can maybe tweak something in Skinner's game and help him, with his glove, his lateral movement, whatever the case is, right? The mental fortitude. If Stu is giving up 5 goals in a game and he's laughing in the crease again, I don't know. I may shut down the YouTube channel. I'm just letting everyone know. But I will say this. I don't hate Stuart Skinner. I don't hate him. I think he was put in an unwinnable position by the organization, and this same organization is giving him this is our guy. They're giving him the vote of confidence that he's the starter. I don't like that from the organization. Maybe there's a reason why there's that Play Alberta logo on the jerseys now. Maybe the organization likes to gamble a little too much. I don't know if I'm a big fan of that, but we'll have to see, all right? What are your thoughts on the Connor McDavid contract situation? What are your thoughts on Stuart Skinner's play heading into this season? Do you think it is a good idea to make him the starter once again in oil country? Keep the conversation going in the comment section below. Make sure you smash that like button. And as always, fight like a kid, fight like Ben, and tell someone that you love them. See, I switched it around again. Normally it's tell someone that you love them, and then the fight like a kid, fight like a Ben. I'm having fun. All right. We'll see you soon, oil country. Training camp has opened up. Tomorrow, there will potentially be line combinations, and we'll get an idea of what the lines are going to look like for Sunday's split squad game. Sunday, 6 p.m. split squad. Keep an eye out on the channel for a lot more content on the way. All right. Love all of you. Take care. See you soon.